Thank you, Musa. In the winter of 2008 and 2009, we watched as Israel launched a series of brutal attacks on the Gaza Strip. In 22 days, more than 1,400 people were killed, the majority of them women and children under 14. 5,400 people were injured, over 100,000 people were displaced, and 22,000 buildings were flattened to the ground. Now, in 2002, we helplessly watch as Israel engages in another brutal onslaught on the besieged Gaza Strip. On Wednesday, November 14th, at approximately 5 p.m., Israel assassinated a senior Hamas official, breaking the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Palestinian militant factions put in place 2 days prior. This marked the beginning of what Israel has dubbed Operation Pillar of Cloud, but what we all recognize as another impending massacre. Since the start of the attack 4 days ago, the Canadian government has shamelessly announced their unwavering support for Israel. Canadian Foreign Minister John Baird has stated, "We fundamentally believe that Israel has the right to defend itself and its citizens from terrorist attacks." Israel has the right to defend itself, despite the fact it is Israel who has breached the ceasefire agreement, despite the fact that Israel is the main aggressor in this conflict. In the last 4 days, there have been more than 950 Israeli airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. This works out to approximately one attack every 5 minutes. There have been 40 people killed the last time I checked, and that this number is rapidly rising. More than 350 people have been injured, the majority of them civilians. Israel says it's doing its best to prevent civilian casualties, yet they're bombing residential areas, they're bombing homes, and they're bombing regions that are densely populated.
Shame.
Shame.
Causing injury to hundreds of civilians. It's time Israel is held accountable for its actions. It's time to end Israeli impunity, and it's time to end the unquestioned support for a state that has no respect for human rights and international law. Palestinian children are not collateral damage, and Palestinian lives are not inferior. End the attacks on Gaza now.